We all use money every day, yet we hardly ever think about it outside of complaining that we don't have enough of it. The United States has been profitable since 1792. Coins served as the initial form of currency. These early coins had real value because they were made of precious metals. Paper money, which is cotton rather than paper, was not created by the Department of Treasury until 1862, during the American Civil War. It was developed to make up for the lack of coins. Because those early coins contained precious metals, people started accumulating them as a buffer against the monetary swings brought on by the war. To prevent counterfeiting, coins feature ridges. Coins have a rich history, but most of us either use them to buy things from vending machines or deposit them in a bank to save for a rainy day. Have you ever wondered why the quarter's edge is ridged? They were developed to stop copying. Yes, there were inventive criminals attempting to forge currency even during those more civilized years of colonial America. Because coins were made of silver and gold, these forgers would round their edges. $10 worth of gold was used to create a $10 gold piece. People would trim the coin's edges and gather the metal to make a little additional cash. If done correctly, merchants would not notice the smaller coins, resulting in their receiving less than $10 worth of gold for each purchase. The extra gold or silver allowed the counterfeiter to produce more coins. The ridges are still present today and serve as a braille for visually challenged people. The edge of a quarter has 119 grooves. A $1 bill only remains usable for around 18 months. The U.S. currency with the highest circulation is the dollar bill. 48% of the paper bills produced by the United States Bureau of Engraving and Printing are $1 bills. A dollar bill typically lasts about 18 months before it needs to be replaced. You will see a few things if you carefully examine the $1 bill. The Latin words e pluribus unum, the eagle with 13 arrows in its talons, and the all-seeing eye over the pyramid are all clearly visible, out of many, one. However, there are few things that you might have overlooked. The U.S. Mint produced over 1,856,000,000 $1 notes in 2010. If you had 1,000,000 of these, you would have 2,040.8 pounds of weight. Instead, request 20s as 1,000,000 of them would only weigh 20.4 pounds each. There are 293 different ways to create change for a $1 bill as well. Presidents who are still in office cannot have their likenesses printed on money. You either adore pennies or you detest them. They have been around for a very long time and were the first denomination of coins minted in the United States. They have existed since 1793, when they were made entirely of copper. In 1909, President Lincoln appeared on the penny. Modern pennies are comprised of zinc, nickel, and a small amount of copper. In 2011, 4,938.54 million pennies were made. President Lincoln still appears on the front of the penny's present design, but the reverse has undergone a number of changes. The new design features e pluribus unum, a union shield with 13 vertical stripes and one horizontal bar across the top. The production of the penny has repeatedly been attempted to halt, but as of right now, it is still going on. Former presidents. No living person may be depicted on a coin according to legislation enacted in the United States during the Revolutionary Era. As living rulers of the day were depicted on their nation's currency, it was done to ensure that the U.S. would not appear to be a monarchy. President Calvin Coolidge was an exception to this rule. A commemorative coin featuring his likeness was produced to mark the 150th anniversary of American independence. In 1926, it was coined. The very first lady to be shown on American coinage wasn't even one. American coins have featured a number of ladies. In reality, the first woman was a Spanish queen rather than an American. The first woman to appear on a U.S. currency was Queen Isabella of Spain in 1893, who was shown on a commemorative coin. However, First Lady Martha Washington is the first woman to be depicted on widely used paper money. In 1886 and 1891, she appeared on a $1 silver certificate. Since that time, only Sacagawea, Susan B. Anthony, and Helen Keller have been depicted on coins in circulation. Booker T. Washington was the first African American to make an appearance. He was immortalized on a commemorative $50. Although there have been a number of African American treasurers of the United States, none of them have appeared on any current currency. There are other places than the U.S. Mint where money is made. You've undoubtedly used some of the local currencies that are produced by various American localities. You have used Disney money if you have ever visited a Walt Disney theme park. Even a few tiny communities, like Ithaca, New York, supply local currency for students to use. Many colleges also generate their own money for use by students. This was developed to encourage more community spending at small companies. To make purchases, you trade different quantities of U.S. currency for community dollars, which have the potential to appreciate in value. The only non-president to get their image on a bill is Benjamin Franklin. Contrary to popular misconception, the U.S. government has never printed a $1 million bill. The $100,000 Series 1934 gold certificate was the highest denomination ever issued. This bill was never distributed to the general public. It was only used for banking transactions. There was a picture of President Woodrow Wilson on it. The $100 bill is now the largest openly circulated denomination of U.S. paper money. The $100 is the only piece of legal tender in circulation without a portrait of an American president. Benjamin Franklin, a founding father, bears the distinction. The $20 note is the one that is forged the most in the nation. Counterfeiting was a serious offense that carried a death sentence in the country's early years. Benjamin Franklin, who for a brief period of time also printed money, actually engraved the words "to counterfeit is death" on his notes. A country's economic stability was once threatened by counterfeiting, and it still is today. Before the U.S. Mint was created early in the history of the country, numerous colonies printed their own money. It was common to utilize foreign currency, much of which was easily counterfeited. The U.S. Mint and Secret Service were established as a result of this. The $20 bill is the most frequently faked currency, followed by the $100 note. The $100 bill from the United States is the most frequently faked currency abroad. Foreign seizures totaling $37.9 million in counterfeit U.S. currency and foreign passing of $4.8 million in counterfeit U.S. currency were reported by the U.S. Secret Service as of 2005. Even now, counterfeit coins are being made, although they are mostly copies of rare and expensive coins. 95% of all newly printed money is utilized to replace American dollars that travel abroad. The United States Bureau of Engraving and Printing turned 150 in 2012. This bureau, which is a division of the U.S. Treasury Department, is in charge of all U.S. Mint locations. It produces $796 million worth of banknotes per day, or 37 million. This sum doesn't represent any new money. 95% of this is printed to replace money that is already in use. The most common currency utilized in cross-border transactions is the U.S. dollar. 18 tons of ink are needed daily to support all this printing. It is not paper that is currently used to print money, rather, it is a cotton blend that is identical to the paper and ink that were utilized during the Civil War. Although this is incredibly amazing, the annual amount of money printed by the Monopoly game is more. All the money printing plates are made by 9 engravers, and they are all reversed. The U.S. Mint was the first federal structure the American government erected, and Thomas Jefferson's decimal method was used to mint the nation's first coins in 1793. The 5-acre Philadelphia Mint is the biggest in the United States. One of the few structures to survive the 1906 Great Earthquake in San Francisco was the Mint. Dollar notes are uncleaned and frequently contain E. coli and salmonella residues. Money in your wallet is some extremely dirty thing, according to numerous recent studies. Salmonella and E. coli are among the pollutants that are more prevalent in older invoices. The most bacteria were identified on bills printed predominantly on cotton, while the least bacteria were found on bills printed on more recent, slicker polymers. Over 1,200 banknotes from different nations were collected for a study by the University of Ballarat in Australia. The study's findings were as follows. In the United States, the cleanest dollars harbored just 20 bugs, or colony-forming units, or CFUs. The filthy greenbacks hosted 25,000, or about 128 CFUs per square centimeter. Even though the vast majority of bacteria on money is absolutely benign, there may occasionally be a few extremely dangerous pathogens there. The greatest recommendation is to wash your hands after dealing with money. That was for today. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel.